What's up? We're about to do some painting in our living room, and we thought now would be a good time to remove some of these ugly covers and speaker wires and cable wires and patch it up with some drywall. So let's go. And first thing we're going to do here is quickly remove these covers. And to do so, we're using the old fast forward screwdriver. And it usually takes the monotonous tasks and makes them go by a little bit more quickly. But if you don't have one of these, it's not a big deal. You could just use the old flathead and get the job done just as well. You just lose the extra 30 seconds of your life. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut these speaker wires and remove these cable boxes. Not even gonna lie, this box right here took me a little bit of time because I could not reach the nail. So I'm using a multi-tool here and the blade just couldn't quite reach far enough. So I had to do a little demolition work to finally cut the nail in the back and then remove that box. And now we're gonna, well, I guess cut bigger holes into the wall. And to do this, we're gonna do it with the drywall saw. We do this because it makes it a little bit easier on us when we try to reproduce a patch to match that exact hole. So what we're going to do is going to make nice rectangular shapes, and that way we can kind of reproduce those a little bit more easily. So now we have turned ugly covers into pretty ugly holes. So we took a 2x2 square of drywall from Home Depot and cut out 2 oversized sections. From there, you're going to duplicate the dimensions of the hole in your wall and slightly cut through that first layer of drywall just enough to make a clean break, and then peel back the drywall and just leave the tape. This is going to be our patch. I'm going to go ahead and mix some mud, a little bit of water, just light water. Just makes it a little bit easier to work with. So now it's time for the fun stuff. And after everything's got a pretty uniform mixture, what we're going to do is take a damp rag and wipe the inside edge of your drywall patch. And then putting the mud on the outside edge of the hole, and then also putting it on the inside of your patch. And then nice and easy, gonna push in those corners to make sure nothing's sticking out one way or the other. And we're gonna do the same thing for the other one here. Mix the mud in the pan, mix it around so you got a good even consistency, and then put it on the inside of the patch, spread it out. And place it in the hole just like before. So one thing to note is you don't want to press too hard with the knife and squeeze out all that mud. You want to get as much mud on the wall as possible, but you can't go too thick because it'll take too long to dry. So you usually do about like an 1/8 inch, a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, just to spread it around. Get along those edges so you can't see them. And this first layer of mud does not have to be perfect by any means, but you just want to get enough on the surface to be able to work with later on. And this picture here is a result of our first coat. So, day 2. Well, this is all dried. We're gonna do some sanding. First things first, you should wear a mask. It's probably worse breathing this stuff in than Corona, but it might be easier here to use a wet sanding sponge, but right here we're just using a sanding block and going around the edges, kind of blending it in and knocking down all the high spots. So here's the result of the second layer of mud and then sanding. And for the final coat here, what we're going to do is just get the mud on the wall, and then we're going to try to blend the best we can. So the goal here is to spread out this drywall over a long surface area, that way it's undetectable to the eye. And to do so, we're going to be using a 10-inch knife here. The longer the knife, the better you can spread this out evenly. So we're going to apply outward pressure with the blade just to really smooth out those edges. Let it dry for 24 hours, sand the high spots and edges, then we're done. Well, hopefully you found this video useful, maybe found some tips along the way, but now we're going to go ahead and get the painting. Thanks for watching. We'll be posting a follow-up video of the painting over drywall. Until then, stay tuned for more DIY projects.